Welcome to the Launch with Words podcast with your host, Bridget Willard. We're going to talk about all things content, blogging, articles, videos, whatever has words and goes on your website. Hey, it's your friend Bridget. I'm here with Sherry from the Pacific Northwest. And if you didn't see our previous conversation a short time ago, 2 years, whatever, yesterday, depends on where you are in the time spectrum, go and check out that link on YouTube. I will put a link in the show notes. Sherry, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Bridget. Thanks for having me again.
Could you tell our audience kind of what you do? I know you've been doing your thing for 20 something years. Is it your 25th anniversary yet?
I think we passed that already. I think we're up to like 27 or something now.
But go ahead and tell people what you do, like just for the people who are out of the blue.
Yeah. I run a small agency called JVM Design. We specialize in custom WordPress sites and worry-free maintenance. But we also do little graphic design, things like that. And we've got, a network of professionals that we work with to handle all the things that we don't in-house, like marketing and copywriting.
Yeah. That conversation, I just rewatched it. We were talking about hiring vendors because they kind of represent you and everything, and knowing that vibe. So many small businesses want to DIY their website, and I get it. You know, they just started. Maybe they're figuring out what they want to do. They're kind of putting their feelers out there. Maybe why they should hire a pro is important, but maybe the first question is, when should they hire a pro?
When should they hire a pro? Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to, get your feelers out and kind of dip your toes in the water of marketing and web stuff. And most people know they need a website. So it's like, oh man, I got to check this off. I have no budget right now. What about this Wix thing? I'll try that. And, you know, honestly, a lot of times, okay, and you have to admit, as a business owner, you may be the expert at your business, but you aren't an expert in everything. And we all have to admit that, at some point, that we're not, we just don't know everything. So when you realize that, when you admit to it and you go, okay, this is not my cup of tea. I don't really know what I'm doing. And I don't want my website to be the equivalent of macaroni art when it like ends up on the web. So
Macaroni art. This podcast has been sponsored by Macaroni Art Web Design, made by your 3-year-old child in preschool.
so you have to admit that. You have to admit that it's best for you to spend your time focused on the things that you are best at, that you're an expert at. If you're selling widgets, go out there and sell widgets. Leave the rest to the professionals.
Yeah.
So I'm all for bringing somebody in right from the get-go.
Okay.
Budget budget it, because it is worth every penny to hire a legitimate professional. And we'll talk about legitimate professional here in a second. But, how to vet people and everything. But hire somebody that really knows what they're doing, who will basically become your partner. That's my bag. I become the trusted partner of people who hire us to do their thing. We want to see their business grow. We want to see their business be successful. And the web is that's your focal point online. It's not Facebook. It's not any of these other social places. I mean, social's kind of, it's, it's kind of a flaming ship right now. So you don't really want to like put your eggs all in that basket. You want to have your own space on the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you said it. Okay. So like that, I've used the term digital sharecropping in the past, which is a little incendiary, maybe a wrong term, but like you don't own the space and you're building your whole business on it. Don't do it. Like I know so many businesses here locally in Corpus Christi who just have Instagram and then they wonder why their doors close a year later, 3 months later, 2 months later. Like they pop up. My friend and I go, we try to support them. We believe in supporting small businesses financially. Like instead of going to half price books, we go to a local used bookstore or whatnot.
Right.
And then we feel like this little bit of betrayal about that. Like, oh, well, we wouldn't have spent money because it's usually more money
Oh yeah.
at a
Yeah, for
small
sure.
business, right? I'm not buying Amazon. I went to your store to get this shirt or to get this piece of cake or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but you said something that's really important, and it's the word budget. So you said set aside the budget. I've heard people say, and I tell people 15% of your revenue, and they go, whoa, that's a lot of money. Right. Do you want to grow or do you want your business to shut? What kind of um, earmarks, benchmarks, rules of thumb do you give your clients when it comes to setting an appropriate marketing budget for their business?
Well, the thing with budget too, and I mean, we've always been the type of company who doesn't have like package pricing. We didn't go that route. There's a lot of companies who do, and it's a set thing and blah, blah, blah. But since we do custom work, we customize for the client. If they want, we just did a very small site for a local restaurant. It's literally 3 pages. We're not going to charge them $5,000. There's no so we adjust based on how much work we're actually doing, what the client actually needs. So and we do free estimates. I'll give just about anybody 20 minutes of my time to talk over what they need and then give them an idea of what the budget's going to be. And that's if you're not going with the package pricing route, that is what a professional will do. They'll spend a little bit of their time, kind of walk you through it, kind of plan out what you need. Do you need a logo? Do you need copywriting? Do you need additional marketing services? All of those come into play. So if you don't have the budget to do all of it right now, that's fine, but start with the website. Budget
Yes.
for that, and then add things as you go. So that's basically my budget spiel without giving set
Oh
numbers.
yeah,
Ask
that's
you
why
this
I
wrong.
like percentage. Like so if you're making 10,000 a month, set aside 15% once you can afford it. So like I always tell people, "Oh, you don't have the budget? Do you have the money?" You know, that when you're starting a business, a lot of your personal money goes into. There's a lot, that saying, it takes money to make money. You have to if you're not putting in blood, sweat, and tears, you need to replace that with money. If you're
Right.
not, getting rid of some of your DNA.
Well, and people like they always go like, well, I can save money doing this myself. But how much are you really saving? Okay. You're spending your nights and weekends working on this thing that's, away from your family or away from things that you really want to be doing. And the end product you're putting out there, you're not a marketing pro, you're not a designer, you're not a programmer. So what after all those hours you sunk into it and you've got this macaroni art website, like what is that really, did that get you anything,
Right. And I think
and
this is when they're saying like marketing doesn't work, social doesn't work, websites don't work. I've been asking some questions on Twitter and people are like, well, I've spent X amount of money and it got me nothing. So this goes back to why hire a pro and why you get custom WordPress websites. I mean, for the person who is just starting out, they've been ignoring WordPress for the last 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Why is it WordPress just a blog? Why do I need WordPress? Like why would I need anything custom? And what constitutes custom? Like to me, I'm like, if you want a button, that's custom. Like once you can't just No,
Well,
but seriously, Sherry, because I want to redesign my website just using the regular. I love my design. That's not nothing on Rhonda. Rhonda did a great job. I just wanted to do something really clean and simple, and I started messing around in production. I'm like, no, this is why you hire someone. I
yeah.
can't with this.
Well, and there's a lot of misconceptions with WordPress too. People will go like, "Well, I've heard it's insecure," and like, well, it's insecure if you install 50 plugins and you don't update them and you have a password like admin123. That usually and hosting too. If you have a crappy, $5 a month host, usually the insecurities with WordPress are due to user error or user ignore. Or really really awful hosting. So those are all solvable things. And then people are like, well, it's so hard to use, I can't, and there's 1,001. I'm being really lowballing there. There's 1,001 themes out there, and they're all different. They're all programmed by different people. And the thing with I call them pre-made themes because they kind of are, but the thing with those is they are made by a developer to sell as many as possible. They don't care about your business. They don't care about your audience or your goals. It's just a box that they're, selling out there. And I mean, of all of the builders and everything that we've encountered, we just plain out flat, like said, you can't come to us with a theme and we're not going to use it, because you can't hack on that theme because then you can't get updates for that theme. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on with that. And some people are great with themes. They're like, yes, we can build custom sites with Divi or whatever, and Divi's like the base theme. Okay, that's fine. Elementor, that's fine. Whatever. If you really know that and that's your bag, go for it. But what we figured out about 8-10 years ago was that creating our own builder that was very much simplified based on even the new blocks thing. It's way simpler than that. It's more intuitive than that, and it's customized to exact needs of clients too. It's flexible enough that they can easily add stuff, but it's also customized so they don't have to worry about adding HTML or layouts or any of that. So, that's another thing you can get by going truly custom is you get something that's specifically for you, made for you. And all the sites we've built over the years, we've kind of evolved our builder to be as simplified as possible. So even sites that we built though 5 years ago are still running, and then we also found that most people, especially small businesses, you know, they say they want to go in there and edit stuff, and then they never do. So that's why about 8 years ago, I came up with our worry-free web maintenance. And I used to sell it that it's basically the cost of one fancy coffee drink a day to ensure that not only is your WordPress website running smoothly and efficiently, but that you literally don't have to worry about it. If you just want to, like, somebody needs to change a price or add a paragraph or something, just send it over to us. It literally takes us a minute to do it. Whereas if even with our builder, when people log in, they haven't logged in a while, they're all, where do I go again? Pages, posts, what? It's like that every time. So we just said, let's just cut out the difficulty level for people, and we just offer that for them. We do have some clients that post blogs or edit WooCommerce pricing and things like that, and that's fine. They're fine with it. But at the end of the day, we still offer the maintenance end of it, where we're making sure WordPress is updated. We don't have anything on auto update, so we never get that like, oh, the site's broke, what auto updated? We have no idea. So we know, and we keep up on plugin security stuff. We keep up on plugin abandonment. Plugins really are the chaos variable of WordPress, because they're all programmed by other additional different people. If you're not careful with plugins, there's things that happen in the world of WordPress plugins, like a nefarious party will buy out a plugin and then decide to inject it with malware. And then it takes a couple weeks for, the scanners to figure it out. And so we try and stay up on all of that so that that's another aspect you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Because it's a full-time job. And that's, I think, what people don't realize,
Right.
especially when they're like, oh, WordPress is DIY. Well, yeah, but do you know everything else that goes into it? Like all of that stuff. So yeah, we have this whole like 50-point thing that we do every month for people on their sites. And it just makes it so much easier. It makes it so that we never get people going, I went to log in my site and I can't log in anymore. And something's wrong with my site. We don't get that because we're in there making sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
So,
That's a good way to kind of prevent yourself from being scammed. And I've noticed a lot of your Twitter activity has been talking about these nefarious folks. There's a lot
yeah,
of scams. Like, the pandemic gave a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty is a breeding ground for this kind of behavior,
yeah.
especially consumer based scamming for small businesses. And I wondered if you wanted to, give some small business tips, like what should they look out for if they don't have your worry free.
Right. Well, there's a couple major things that target small businesses. One is those places like the Hebrew, or just places where they have a fast talking, charismatic salesperson who is promising you, oh, we'll get you top 10 in Google and we'll refresh your website every 2 years, and, we'll write the copy for you, all of that. It's, automatically, if somebody guarantees you something that sounds really, really good, I would just kind of side eye that a little bit. Like, really? Top 10 Google? With marketing, especially, there are no guarantees.
Right.
And any of us marketers actually know that. We cannot actually guarantee that you'll make $1 million, that you'll be number one on Google, that you'll get 1,000 people ringing your phone. We can't. There's no possible way to do that unless it's a scam. Like we'll get 10,000 clicks to your website, and they'll do it, but it's a scam. It has zero ROI for you. So, anybody that comes at you with something that sounds really too good to be true, say no thanks, or just put it right in your trash, because it's usually via email that it comes in.
Yeah.
The
Or
other
LinkedIn.
thing is, yeah, or LinkedIn. A lot of people get calls from people claiming to be Google. That's another really big thing. And they've even called us, right? They have no qualms about who they call. But small businesses get it a lot. And I actually kind of coach my clients to be like, if anyone calls you and says they're from Google, just hang up on them. Just say, they're not, Google is not calling you. Okay. Just know. These people will pose as Google and they'll say, oh, well, we can set up your site and everything. And it's not like, it's that really gray area of like, shady where, okay, yeah, they'll set up your Google page, but that's free to do, and if they're charging you money for it, and the way they pitch it is they pitch it as if Google charges money for it, and they're just doing it because of Google charging money. Google does not charge money for that. It's free to set up. If they were upfront about it and say, well, it costs us $150 or whatever it is to set up your page, But then you have no idea what they're doing with that. If it's under their account, if it's under your account, So, and a lot of companies will have you sign agreements where, you're agreeing to send them $500 a month after that, and it can get
Wow.
really crazy fast. I mean, if you look at Better Business Bureau for Hebrew, the comments on there are basically along those lines. Like we had very shady contracts. Like we got nothing out of this. We can't cancel the contract now. And yeah, it's the whole thing is designed to take advantage. It's designed to prey upon people who aren't ignorant. They just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So,
What's a good first step for somebody listening who owns a business and wants besides contacting you at your website? What's a good
well,
first step for somebody who wants their website redesigned or built?
ask colleagues first. If you have professional colleagues, if you know other business owners who have worked with a web developer or a designer, whatever, ask them first. If they had a great experience, if they could have a referral. The other thing you could do, if you don't know anybody, you could put it out on your LinkedIn, or and collect referrals from maybe people, 2 or 3 people removed from your
Yeah.
colleagues, and
Yeah.
still get referrals that way. That's still the best approach, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, we do get a fair amount of legitimate customers and clients from clutch.co. Um, they're, they have, they're a directory site, and I recently found out people are doing fake reviews for them too, which I posted on Twitter. I have not heard back from them about this, but I was approached by somebody saying, "Hey, you don't have well, I'll do reviews for you on Clutch.co." And it used to be that they would do phone interviews with actual clients of yours, so the reviews were pretty legitimate there. But now that I see, people just coming out of the woodwork, and like if you've got a profile on there approaching you saying we'll get you reviews, I'm like, that's no good.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to trust in this industry, especially with programming and web design and marketing. We don't have to have certifications, we don't have to have a degree, in order to get into this business. So it's very easy for anyone to just say that they are doing this, that they have a company or whatnot. So, I encourage people to, if they do talk to somebody, ask for actual clients. You want to see the work that they've done, Um, it's just all part of validation, and no other web developer or marketer should take offense to that. And if
Yeah.
they do, then that's a red flag right there. I
That's a
mean, there's
parade of red flags.
there's red flags for us, for clients, red flag clients, but there should also be red flags for clients
Yes.
hiring people like us. um, for myself, I think the track record kind of speaks to that, just doing this since 1995. Like,
Wow.
it's crazy.
That is crazy.
Fresh out of art school, starting this up.
I
but
love it. I
but
love
yeah.
it. So how
uh,
can people find you, Sherry? Are you accepting clients? Where
oh
should
yeah.
they go?
Yeah. jvmediadesign.com.
That's
That's
pretty easy.
pretty much it. Yeah. And yeah, we're always accepting clients. You know, we're kind of at the point where we do have a few little niche markets, that we work with, but small businesses is definitely one. Nonprofits, LGBTQ owned companies. We've done a lot of work for financial advisors, things like that. So it just really depends. But, I'm a huge proponent of small businesses and supporting them, and alerting people to scams. And yeah, that's kind of my bag.
I'm so glad you could be on the podcast, because that's why I wanted you on this episode where I interview in the season where I interview web developers or web devs for short. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll play the outro and then we're out of here.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Launch with Words, a podcast by BridgetWillard.com. If you like this podcast, why not go ahead and share it with your friends, small business owners, peers, your brother. I really appreciate your attention. If you have any ideas, contact me on my website. Follow me at Bridget M. Willard on Twitter. And I hope to see you on the next episode or the next season.